Located in Radford, Virginia, the Women's Resource Center is a nonprofit human service organization providing programs and services to adult and child victims of sexual and domestic violence. Since 1977, the center has been providing hope and help to those who need it in the New River Valley. The center, the oldest in Virginia, has been and will continue to be the cornerstone of courage and inspiration for thousands of people in the community. During the time between July 2020 and June 2021, the Women's Resource Center of the New River Valley answered 2,324 hotline crisis calls, and the center had 138 active volunteers completing over 4,000 volunteer hours over the course of the year. The Women's Resource Center opened in June of 1977, and by 1980 the center relocated to Radford, Virginia. In 1983, the center added a crisis intervention sexual assault program with a great commitment to the community awareness and education that relates to family violence issues. In 1985, the Resource Center added a victim witness program to provide court information and advocacy to victims of domestic and sexual violence. A children's program was added in 1987 to provide services and crisis intervention to children who come to the Women's Resource Center shelter with their mothers. In 1989, a child sexual abuse program was added to address the growing number of sexually abused children.
So the Women's Resource Center's vision is a community free of sexual and domestic violence. And so our mission is every day we're providing services and programs to victims of sexual assault and domestic violence in the New River Valley to help them heal from that trauma, because we know in that healing we are interrupting the cycle of violence. Our staff are here to meet those needs that the trauma has created in an effort to lessen the impacts of that trauma and to, like I said, interrupt that cycle of violence. So our agency has a really long history of working with Radford University and different groups and faculty on campus. A couple ways that looks is we partner with the SAVES office to provide programming on and off campus. Right now we're offering a support group for college students who have experienced sexual violence, meeting here on Monday afternoons. And so what we heard from students was that they wanted a student group that was off campus, right? How we support victims of domestic violence and dating violence and stalking and sexual violence, all of that starts before anyone tells us they've experienced it, right? And so we could talk about what to do once your friend says this has happened to me, but I want to challenge us to take that several steps back and recognize that an important thing for our community to do is change the conversation around violence and perpetration. But before that, we need to check our attitudes and our bias just in daily life, because that's when our friends and family really find out what we think about victims and really find out whether or not we support victims.
The Women's Resource Center of the New River Valley believes that every individual has the right to feel safe and be safe, the right to be treated with dignity and respect, the right to be supported in developing to her or his fullest potential, and the right to timely, free, and culturally appropriate services.